Hi, Doug. Let's get started, please.
My camera has been turned off. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest in our launch event series at KiwiTech, a growing ecosystem of entrepreneurs, investors, mentors, accelerators, incubators, and corporations. We help early and growth stage startups build viable products, drive traction, raise capital, and scale their businesses. Now, we're about to have a live event with our friends at Dronedek, but before we do, here's a brief disclaimer we'd like you all to be aware of. KiwiTech is not acting as a broker, dealer, or investment advisor and is not registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission in any such capacities. At no time does KiwiTech provide investment advice, endorsement, analysis, or recommendations with respect to securities. Information contained herein should be viewed for entertainment purposes only. KiwiTech does not verify or assure that information provided by any issuer offering its securities is accurate or complete, or that the valuation of such securities is appropriate. Investing in securities, particularly in securities issued by startup companies, involves substantial risk, and investors should be able to bear the loss of their entire investment. Now, speaking of entirety, the entire disclaimer is available on our podcast website, successfullyfundedpodcast.com/disclaimer. Now, on with the show, because we are here to talk about Dronedek, which is revolutionizing the last mile of autonomous delivery by unlocking quick, convenient, and eco-friendly deliveries to your home or business, keeping your packages safe. And you're about to find out all the capabilities that Dronedek has. Again, they're not the drone, they're the deck. And we've talked a lot about how delivery has become, that's something we figured out, but the real issue is how secure is your package once it's been delivered, and how, what capabilities does that receptacle have if you need temperature controls or you need something else in particular to keep your package safe and fresh. And we're here to talk more about how this entire idea came to be with the founder and CEO of Dronedek, Dan O'Toole. Dan, welcome.
Hey, Doug, how's it going? Hey, everybody out there. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you might be, right?
Indeed, this is going all over the world at once. So, no pressure. You're being watched by billions of people worldwide, and perhaps out in the Alpha Centauri somewhere. But one thing we want to talk about is Dronedek and how this company is in the middle of a second successful crowd fund right now, and how it evolved, how it's about to evolve. And so for those of you who are listening live, if you have any questions, by all means, set your question in the chat. I'll be following along with that. And if one comes through, I'll definitely pass that on to Dan so he can answer your question in real time. But in the meantime, we're going to fire up some salient characteristics, part of the pitch deck, and talk a bit about where Dronedek has been and where it's going. So, and good morning to you, Daniel. How's life in this frigid earth treating you so far today?
It's doing well. Every day is a great day, right, man? So just
every day is a gift. Yeah.
Yep, it is. Yep. So, and when you got something as exciting as Dronedek, time flies. It's fast and furious. No 2 days are the same. It's a lot of fun. So just really happy to be here.
Great to be with you. And we've seen this now very familiar visual of a Dronedek receptacle sitting in a residential street. You can see there's a retractable roof on it. And for those who are uninitiated with Dronedek, let's get into it in terms of what Dronedek does and why the actual nature of the receptacle is the key point that distinguishes you and your patented IP from your competitors.
Absolutely. We have a first position patent portfolio in this space. And, the exciting thing for us is it's our belief that Dronedek is going to be that start point or end point for virtually, all delivery. We're consolidating all delivery to one secure point, which includes, an everyday UPS guy, Amazon guy, the U.S. Postal Service, as well as robotic delivery, unmanned driverless vehicle delivery, and of course, aerial drone delivery. So it puts us in a really unique spot. We like to say we're the gateway to every home and business, not just here in the U.S., but we have patent extension to 25 countries throughout the world. So we are the biggest platform opportunity in the world today, and we're executing on that, right now, Doug.
Terrific. And we're going to talk a lot also about the diverse revenue streams. And I will just say we've had our first question in the chats that I'll just relay it to you now. Whether you answer it right away, you may have that already in the chamber for when the time comes. But Paul Shepard has checked in and asked, Dan, you mentioned the monetization of subscriber data. Can you explain how that works, and is it beneficial to the subscriber? So whether you can answer that now, or I'll just plant that in for a later discussion. That's up to you.
Let's take them as we go. We want this to be conversational. I think a lot of our community is familiar with the deck, so I like to be able to kind of riff a little bit. So thanks, Paul. Paul's a great investor, very supportive of Dronedek. Really appreciate that question, Paul. So we do address revenue streams later in the deck here, but I'll go ahead and talk about this one right now. The revenue stream of big data. Big data is probably one of the most valuable metrics in really commercial business today. It's highly valuable. You can look at Google and some of the other companies that are harvesting and leveraging that every day. An example, Facebook lost $10 billion in revenue when Apple changed the iOS privacy settings on cell phones, which means people could opt out of sharing their data. And so that's how significant it is, $10 billion in one quarter. So the cool thing about Dronedek is, first of all, we are not taking anyone's privacy against their will. We offer a volunteer situation where if you want to share your data with Dronedek, we're happy to exchange that for great features like a heated and cooled cargo area, reverse logistics, returns, all those kind of things. And in doing so, we're going to be able to harvest big data in two ways. One is environmentally built out as the largest contiguous infrastructure in the country. We're going to be able to get metrics such as traffic flows, weather patterns, proximity email addresses. We can stream live video, micro weather reports, traffic counting, all those kind of things. And those are all highly valuable. But in addition to that, through the user agreement, if you accept our barter, where we give you those free benefits, in return, we're going to know what you buy, when you buy it, how often you get it, who you get it from, what you pay, your age, gender, ethnicity. We'll be able to harvest and really aggregate your profile like nobody's been able to do before. And in doing that, that's highly valuable. So those are two big ways that big data is going to be significant for Dronedek. What I'd like to say is, we want Dronedek to be a very low bar of entry for people to use it in businesses, because we know that there's strength in numbers, and the real economy of scale is when Dronedek reaches the masses. And to be able to do that, we need to make the entry barrier very low. So what if you could get in and own a Dronedek, not own it, but have access to it at an Amazon Prime subscription type model, very low. What if you could have a Dronedek for free, and there's no money, positive or negative? And then what if you could have a Dronedek where you're paid to have the Dronedek? And these are all opportunities that we're looking at behind the scenes. It makes it very compelling. The lower we make the barrier to entry, and that's where we want to be. So those are the things we're working on. And big data, Paul, is a big part of that. It's highly valuable. So we're looking forward to sharing that with you guys as we begin to get out there.
I wanted to ask real quick before you move on, while we're talking about privacy. I mean, that is a common conversation on just about anything now, since we've entered into the age of the Internet of Things, and so many things are connected, and so many things need private data to function. So, have you had many conversations about privacy in terms of how Dronedek operates, and Have there been concerns or other people just asking what the official policy is? Because, when you have your address, when you have sensitive aspects that Dronedek possesses, what responsibility do you take on in that role of shepherding them and making sure that they're not being resold for profit?
Absolutely. Privacy is paramount. And that's why I wanted to state we don't take anyone's metrics unless they want to share those. So it's a total opt in. It's not like any other platform out there currently. If you think about Facebook or Instagram or any of these, in the user agreement, you're giving up your privacy as a just a conduct opportunity to have the use of their platform. They're taking that. We're looking at it differently. We only want people to share the data that want to share it. We're not going to ever take anybody's privacy, and that's really important to us, and that's why we state that up front. So, in doing that, we're offering a benefit for sharing your data, and those are conveniences that you're going to love and you're going to want to have in your Dronedek. And if you don't, that's fine as well. But and then as far as our platform, we are going to have access to several data metrics, a lot of privacy opportunities there. So we do have a cybersecurity division within our company. We're thinking about all the things that you would be thinking about as a consumer, all the protections you want. We've got our team is made up of NSA and DoD personnel, so it's a very high tech team, and they bring a lot of sophistication to the table. And we view this as a bulletproof opportunity. You can't be great 99% of the time. It's got to be 110% of the time, and that's what we're focused on every day.
Terrific. Well, let's talk more about the deck. Let's see what else you like to cover here. I mean, there are some people who are familiar both with crowdfunding and with your company in particular. But
Yeah.
let's cast a wide net and talk about, let's assume very little and go forward in terms of what Dronedek is and what it hopes to be in the next several years.
Absolutely. Thanks for that opportunity, and thanks for joining us, guys. If you're just coming on, appreciate that. If you have any questions, please add them in the chat. This slide here talks about our team. There's a couple of things we're really proud of here. One is that we beat Amazon by 4 days to our patent, which really was a game changer for us. Had we not beaten them by 4 days or even won that race, we wouldn't be here today. So that it all starts with great intellectual property. It was very fortuitous that we won that race. And it just gave us the foundation of a great company that we're building here. So, but I would say, in addition to you can have the best IP in the world, intellectual property, but if you don't have a great team to execute on that, you probably don't have anything. So, I'm really proud of the team we've assembled here. I'll start with Nirav Shah. He's our chief strategy officer. Nirav's been an entrepreneur, also a government contractor for Department of Defense. He comes out of the drone industry. He had his own drone manufacturing company. So it's really core to what we're doing here. He came in with a great understanding of the industry already, which is a big plus for Dronedek. So we're leveraging his experience every day and working with DoD government opportunities and the drone industry at its center, and how we interact with drone delivery and things like that. So Nirav is a vital role player in what we do, and I'm really proud to have him on the team. Mark Ham is our chief operating officer. Mark, a unique guy. He's got big corporate experience with FedEx and AutoZone. He was the vice president of innovation at FedEx, so he's got a great entrepreneurial flair to him. With a backdrop of large corporate America. So, and then the fact that he came from FedEx is just a big bonus. It helps gives us insights into big logistics companies and how they're thinking about things, and that helps us align in a more centric way, which is highly beneficial. Tori Beavenhour is our chief technology officer. Tori has thousands of products under his belt from inception to product creation in the electronics, consumer electronics industry, LED lighting. He's a very smart guy, very methodical. I don't want to say typical engineer, but kind of a typical engineer, which and that's a compliment. I mean, you need every walk of life when you're building something great. And Tori, I couldn't have picked a better guy to fulfill the role. Really like his attitude, his perseverance, and the dedication that he puts in every day. It's made Dronedek a great product, and a lot of that is attributed to Tori. Thanks, Tori.
I
John
think that's
Richardson.
important too. I think when you have a CTO, you want to have a typical engineer in that role, and I think he definitely puts off that vibe. I think you totally get the sense that the technology is in good hands with him.
Yep, exactly. And then John Richardson, John was with me on day one when I had this crazy idea. I ran to John. I knew I was in a race to get our patents out, filed. The industry was just a twinkle in the eye of Jeff Bezos at that point, and just being around the block in my previous careers, I know how important IP is, and that it's always a race. And reached out to John, teed him up, and within 1 week we had filed our patents. And just luckily that we did that, we executed on that. I'm really proud about that, because there's always the guy that did it, and there's other 10 guys that say, "Man, I had that same idea. I wish I would have done it." And we didn't want to be in that camp. So kudos to John for not neglecting it. He knew how excited I was, and the enthusiasm around it, and he acted quickly. And because of that, not only did he write brilliant patents that were very broad, and when you write a patent, you want to get as many claims as you can. You don't want to be so precise and just narrow that anybody can work around you. You want to have the broadest claims. John comes from a engineering background, who became an attorney. He ran $100 million division of General Motors in Portugal, so he's got the whole gambit of knowledge, and we were able to funnel that to Dronedek here. So I'm really proud to have John on our team. He's a great resource. He's got a lot of experience, and I just like having him in the room. It's really important. He's on our board, and he's a great guy. Greg Barrio, VP of Government Affairs. Greg's got a strong security background, comes from federal law enforcement. He was actually a postal inspector for 25 years, so highly aligned with the mission of Dronedek. Great liaison into the Postal Service. We were able to do a pilot program with the U.S. Postal Service this last summer, and Greg was personally involved in creating and initiating that opportunity. So it's just great to have all these people at the right place at the right time, aligned with what we're doing here at Dronedek. Laura O'Toole, I'm a proud dad, but I gotta say Laura stands on her own. She's a shining star, highly articulate, dynamic, really a go-getter, very personable, and just really proud to have her on our team. She's heading our business development side. She's working on partnerships with some of the biggest companies in the world. She's highly regarded in the industry. She does a lot of speakerships for Dronedek, speeches at industry events. She's really built a great reputation. She's president of AUVSI, which is the largest trade group in the world in our industry, based out of Denver, Colorado, the Rocky Mountain chapter. So really proud of her. She's hit some great milestones in her life. She hit a milestone 30 under 30, or rising 30 in Indiana, recognized by the state of Indiana as one of the 30 top go-getters under 30. So she's my daughter. I'm proud of her, but everything she's accomplished stands on her own. So great job, Laura. I'm really proud of you. And then I just want to also say, we have a great team, that aren't pictured there as well. And Sean, our brand manager, who's helping behind the scenes today, I want to give him a shout out. And we got several other engineers and great staff that everybody contributes in their own way every day. And to make the whole picture, you need every one of these people. So you have a great team here at Dronedek, and it's because of all of our investors that we've been able to find these great people and put them to work here at Dronedek for all of us. So thanks for everything that you guys have done as investors too.
Well, it sounds like you have a lot. Part of the success of this particular crowdfund, which is nearing about 500,000, is when you put that kind of exhaustive and complementary team together that covers so many bases at once. This is it's a great revelation to me that your daughter is involved with BizDev, and I'm curious as well about what the kind of partnerships that she's pursuing. I mean, you don't have to talk about what's in the future, but what sort of partnerships have you been able to secure so far, and what what presence have they brought to the overall effort?
Yep. No. Well, Laura has done a great job on the partnership front, and she's shepherding opportunities every day. We've got probably 50 partnerships that we've got in our books right now, and we've got hundreds more that are on our roadmap, and tens that we probably are working on developing right now, where we can go public with them. But there's I don't even know where to begin, and I don't want to leave anyone out. But and I don't want to say something that is under NDA that I am getting ahead of myself on.
You
But I
can't
was
just you can't just list them in alphabetical order off the top of your head. I mean, what kind of
I really
CEO are you?
can't. I mean, and I don't want to leave anyone out, to be honest with you.
I understand. Yeah.
That I they're all important to us, and I don't want to put any kind of an order or anything out there. But I think as you go through this deck with us, you'll see some things that are happening, and we do have a slide a little bit later which we have reference to some of those partners. So I'll kind of hold up on that till I get there, if that's okay with you guys. But
No, fine by me.
this slide here, let's go back to that one. Thanks, Sean. This one here, if you look at our start engine raise, you'll see that center picture where Dronedek is featured on the NASDAQ tower in Times Square. That is a significant opportunity for Dronedek, and it's really a bucket list thing that I've always wanted to be involved with the stock market. A lot of kids when they're young want to think about being a policeman, an astronaut, fireman. I always wanted to take a company public. That was always an aspiration of mine. The odds of that happening, right, for anybody are just de minimis. There's about 5,000 publicly traded companies, so it's a super minority to be able to do that. But NASDAQ actually called me. This is about 6 months ago, and said, "Hey, we're paying attention to what you guys are doing. You guys may recognize this picture from our Start Engine campaign. It's the front page because we're so proud of it." But they said, every day at the NASDAQ, what we do is we're scouting, what's going to be the next big thing. Where is the market going to take us? And we've identified what you guys are doing as the next big thing. We really believe autonomous delivery is going to happen, and we believe Dronedek is going to be playing a vital role in that. And that was very humbling and flattering to us to have that kind of recognition from NASDAQ and just from them, reaching out to us. So it was a great conversation. At the end of the conversation, that they said, "Hey, we know that you guys are a great candidate to potentially go public at some point. And when you have that choice in front of you, don't forget that we recognized you and we'd love it to be on NASDAQ." So then they offered this. They said, "We'd love to give you a shout out in Times Square on the NASDAQ tower." And I can tell you, we have an investment banker from Wall Street engaged. We have a Wall Street legal team engaged. We're pretty Wall Street savvy. We've been working toward an end game or a potential exit at some point. No guarantees, disclaimers, all that, but Wall Street's on our mind. So I can tell you that nobody that we've talked to has ever seen the Nasdaq put up on its tower a privately held company. That's not to say it's not ever happened, but we haven't found a circumstance of it. And we've talked to a lot of savvy old timers on Wall Street, and so it just makes it even more gratifying and humbling that we were selected to be able to do this. So when we did get this opportunity, we're based out of Lawrence, Indiana. And we wanted, I think if any of our investors are on this call right now, you guys know how we like to give back. We have an initiative called From Within. We know where you are, who you are, and what you do. And if you want to be a part of any opportunities, that Dronedek has, we always want to try to give them to you because you've given so much to us. So Lawrence, Indiana is no different. They've been a great, just a very welcoming community for Dronedek to base out of. And so when we crafted this message, we said, how can we include Lawrence, Indiana in this message? And we didn't want to tell Lawrence, Indiana about that because, the odds of it happening, are probably greater that it wouldn't happen to get this message than it would happen because it's a big thing. So we put this message together, and lo and behold, NASDAQ ran this on a weekend on a recurring basis over a Saturday and Sunday. And then they gave us this picture. And so we then were able to share that with Lawrence, Indiana, and the Mayor Collier, put it in his State of the City address, and he had this big slide, and he said, "This is the first time Lawrence, Indiana, has ever been on the Nasdaq." And so that was a great line. It was a great twofer for us. We were really proud to be able to share that opportunity with Lawrence and give back a little bit like that. So anyway, that was a great story. So we love the Nasdaq, and so if all these stars align at some point, every company raising on Start Engine or any other platform has some aspiration for an exit, and we think that Nasdaq would be a great exit for us. So,
Well, I
bottom
wanted to
left.
mention to you, this wouldn't be your first exit. You've engineered a handful of them already so far. So
Absolutely.
when you talk about this one, especially this is also your first one that's involved successful crowd funds. When you think about the exits you've already engineered, what manner of knowledge have you gathered from them that you think might be particularly germane to this one? Obviously, we're always forging new ground. There are no promises to be made, as you've mentioned many times. We've also talked about how valuable this IP is and how Amazon was particularly interested in it, which means who knows how interested they'll be to acquire it by any means necessary. Again, just conjecture at this point. But when you talk about circling the not the wagons, but when you start about assembling the pieces on the board to engineer an exit, what sort of expertise have you amassed from previous successful exits that would bring to bear here?
Well, no two opportunities are ever the same. I can tell you that. And every business has its own personality and opportunity. And I will say, when I started this idea, came up with it in 2014, and really embarked on this, the drone deck opportunity really consumed me. And my last exit was because of Drone Deck. I actually sold a company that I had that was called Facility Maintenance USA. We worked nationally on multi-location Fortune 500 companies. So like we worked for McDonald's, Hardee's, Enterprise Rent-A-Car, and others. And It was a great experience. But Drone Deck is by far the largest opportunity, because I always say it's the largest market opportunity in the world. So it's obvious that it's the largest opportunity that I've ever been involved with. And I think that's validated every day by others to us, that we're hearing from both investors and potential customers and municipalities. So, just knowing that, the fact that we have nearly 5,000 investors, and I've always owned my own companies 100% myself. So, to have an opportunity like this with 5,000 co-owners, as I view it, everybody has a stake in this business, and you're all here with me every day. And to do something monumental, as we all want to do, you have to think about the last guy that invested and the last valuation that he came in at, and what an exit would mean to him. And that's the metric of how I look at it. And I know at the end of the day, if that last guy that came in at the valuation he came in at is taken care of and is happy, then I know everybody else will be taken care of, including my family and myself. So that's kind of the paradigm that I look at that with every day. And we're working to build this to be the best technology, to be the most vital opportunity, the centric piece of the autonomous delivery space. That's Drone Deck. And so I know that if we keep our head focused, keep our head down, stay focused on that, and deliver on that, that everything else will take care of itself.
Terrific. Well, and moving on, we have a extensive deck to go through here. Let's talk about what the decks are, how they've evolved, and the characteristics that they have that make them revolutionary in terms of taking care of the package once it's been received.
Sure. Well, everyone always knows, what are you solving for? And so this page here kind of answers that question. Every day in the U.S. right now, every single day, it's a staggering number. 1.7 million packages are stolen. So, that's you throw that number out, and people say, is that in a year or whatever? No, that's every single day. So
That's what I
if you
thought. I
could,
thought this is a year, right? No,
right? No,
no.
it's amazing.
I mean,
Yeah,
and
it
it's
shows.
like probably a couple thousand since this thing started.
Yeah, I mean, so that just shows how staggering that problem is and what the real cost of that. You always hear there's no such thing as a free lunch, right? People think you call Amazon because your package was stolen or you didn't like it, and they're just going to send you a free one, and they do. But the reality is, we're all paying for that every day, right? You can't cover theft, loss, damage, all that on your own, and not have that built into your margin. So think about the opportunity to disrupt package theft, how much value that could save to the shipping economy, and then what that could do to deliver back to you a return and a lower shipping costs, right? So that's a big opportunity that we're solving for. In addition to items that are stolen, there's a lot of items that are misshipped as well. So how often does something show up at your home or your office that you didn't order, and that those items never find their way back to who really was the true recipient? So they're the ones in that case that are calling and saying, "Hey, I didn't get that." So now the company essentially sent two items out for the price of one. Nobody can really survive under that kind of a metric. So the margins built in for that too. So those are things that we're solving for. Um, Environmental costs, we're working to take traffic off the road, be carbon neutral by 2050. Every time for every 1% of items that will be delivered to a drone deck, it takes 3,000 vehicles off the road. So and that's just here in the U.S. So we have a big opportunity to really give back to the environment. There's just so many uh, positives that we're delivering. So yeah, thanks for shifting here. Okay, so on this first number here, a $1 billion savings on every 11 days. In the U.S., there's over 100 million items purchased online every single day. 91% of those items are 5 pounds or less, which makes them really perfect for autonomous delivery. When those items are delivered conventionally today, the average is around $2 each. When you deliver those same items autonomously to a drone deck, it drops that cost to a dollar a day or a dollar per package. So every 11 days, that's a $1 billion disruptive savings to the shipping economy. So in addition to the insurance savings and all the other things we just talked about, you can see we're giving back in this way too, which will really, it's one of those rare opportunities where the shipping and logistics company can actually charge a higher profit margin while lowering your end user cost. So it's really a true win-win. We're really excited about being able to deliver a positive paradigm like that. And then just kind of going across, I hit on the 3,000 trucks, 1%. We're opening up temperature controlled delivery for food, beverage, pharmaceuticals, cannabis, perhaps alcohol, things like that. ESG is a big thing with going green and all those kind of things. And, we've got a great practice for that. We always say better, faster, cheaper, and fresher. Those are four things that we're delivering and doing it at a lower cost to you. So just think that we're in the right place at the right time, Doug.
Certainly. And when you talk about carbon neutrality as well, I mean, because I'm now thinking about the physical plant. I'm thinking about um, how these drones operate, especially in densely populated areas. I'm thinking about the power source that they use. I'm thinking about the power source that the decks themselves use. What sort of technology exists now that is going to send you on that road to the carbon neutrality goal that you mentioned?
Well, it goes back to every 1% of items delivered takes 3,000 trucks off the road. If you get to 100%, then you can see you're taking huge amount of trucks off the road. We recently commissioned an environmental report. We wanted to realize and kind of substantiate what the Dronedek environmental impact could be, and it's staggering. And we're going to be set to release that report sometime in the next few weeks here. It's going through edits right now, but it's just exciting and very validating to what we knew and believed. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to be really excited to share that because it's going to prove out everything we're talking about here.
Sounds good.
This slide here, just moving forward here, it just kind of shows the trajectory of last mile logistics and what's happening since coronavirus hit. The acceleration of delivery of package items to homes and businesses through outsourcing and just all those kind of things is really just has blown up. You can see in 2019, the Postal Service delivered about 219 billion items. In 2022, 250 billion. In that same time frame, Amazon nearly tripled its delivery numbers from 2.5 billion to 6.5 billion, and in the process, they leapfrogged UPS, FedEx, and DHL. So it's a great story. It'll probably never go back. People, in the time it takes you to get dressed and ready to leave to go get something, you could actually have something delivered autonomously to you. So, we're a spoiled consumer. We want things better, faster, cheaper. This just lends itself to that. We call it the Amazon economy, and it's really taking hold and it's really redefining the way commerce happens. Drone delivery is here today. We talk about it as a futuristic thing, but the reality is it is here today. These are several use cases that are going on throughout the country right now. The thing that's the most exciting for us is the validation of the market by the largest companies in the world, trillion-dollar market cap companies, Google, Wing, Amazon, Walmart's in there, and then several other players. So, we like to think of ourselves as the monopoly aspect of the logistics center of the logistics market with the Dronedek technology, that little piece of real estate that will be the gateway to every home and business where every delivery will start or end. And then we like to think of all the other delivery modes as the commodity aspect. If you're a robot, an unmanned driverless vehicle, a conventional delivery, a U.S. mail, an aerial drone. Those things are kind of ubiquitous and really fungible. And so there's not a lot of differentiation there. But the one thing that's the commonality will be Dronedek. And we think that puts us in just an exceptional position to have a touch point on every delivery. And what's the value of that? And that's the compelling part about Dronedek. And I hope that you guys consider that when you're thinking about investing.
And as we get down, we have about 7-8 minutes to go in our presentation here. So let's talk a bit about the revenue streams or the landscape itself here, as you say, as you put up here, in terms of how this can expand. Given, as you say, you're trying to disrupt a lot of consumer behavior, you're trying to disrupt a lot of shipping behavior, corporate behavior. So when you look at the landscape here and heading forward with the revenue streams, what kind of opportunities do you see that the sizable crowd fund will take advantage of?
Yeah, the reason we're crowdfunding is we're embarking on a heavy lift of development, as I think everyone can see. We've got a feature-rich, technology-rich, intellectual property driven company here, and it's not inexpensive to build on that. You need the great players to do that, but the opportunity when we get to the point of deployment is exceptional. It puts us in rare air. We have the ability to be one of the largest companies in the world. We've got diversified revenue streams, and one thing we always say, Doug, is there's literally more things we don't know about what we're going to ultimately do than we do know. And the reason we say that is just the platform opportunity that Dronedek delivers. It's a sky's the limit, no pun intended, opportunity, because we're the houser of great sensor technology, and we're going to be everywhere with great connectivity. And there's so many use cases that have yet to be thought of to take advantage of this opportunity, because frankly, this opportunity has never existed before. So here we are, and we're excited about phone calls we get every week, people thinking about different things. This is an iterative opportunity where things will build on other things, and you don't know where it's going to end. All these different paths are emerging, and all the different opportunities for Dronedek to be able to deliver vital data. It's really amazing. And sometimes I take a step back and say, wow, I never even thought about some of these things, and it's just really exciting to see this take on a life of its own, and what that means for everybody that invests in it.
Terrific. I wanted to give a quick shout out as well. We're all looking for external validation wherever we can, and so we have a chat from Alvin Kirsting, my apologies, who just wants to shout out the company that Dronedek is, great tech and well managed. So you do have fans out there who are watching.
Thank you, Alvin. Really appreciate that, and it means so much to hear you say that versus us. So I really appreciate that. This slide here, I know we're getting short on time here, so let's just kind of move forward in a quick way. But this just shows that the opportunity of Dronedek transcends every delivery metric. Given the fact that 91% of all deliveries are 5 pounds or less, just really opens up autonomous delivery to every use case, whether it's medical, universities, restaurants, single multifamily homes, and governmental defense. All those different use cases that might make up or comprise a zip code are all able to be used. And when you get that kind of saturation opportunity and economy of scale, that's what makes things thrive. So we're proud of that opportunity.
It's funny you mentioned. I thought you said single multi-family. I'm thinking that's another thing entirely. But anyway, please proceed.
Yeah, no, this is just a product evolution scale. It kind of shows all the different configurations that we've thought of over the years. The top left is Dronedek when it was thought of. That's our schematic drawing for our first patent we filed. Then we made some models to see how it would interact and ergonomics with carriers and things like that. Going across the top right, units in the field. Bottom left, we did an industrial design exercise. We put it out to vote to our investor community. The second one on the bottom left is the one that our investors voted for, and that's the unit we're producing right now. We're set to take delivery of those just really any time now, so we're really excited about that. And every day is a new day. You can never rest on your laurels. You're always raising the bar on development, longevity, aesthetics, all those kind of things. So thanks for all the input that you guys gave us, and we're going forward in a big way.
Yeah, let's not lose track of the fact this is a 9-year-old idea and the IP was awarded 6 years ago, as I recall, or the patent was. So this is a very mature product in terms of how many iterations that have come across, how improvements that have been made, so that these current decks can keep items cold, heat them up, and be very secure when necessary. So that's one of the things that struck me early on, was just how far along in your development Dronedek is.
Yeah, and it just really proves that you don't come up with an idea today and it's out tomorrow. There's a lot of you got to be ready for prime time when you launch. Perception is reality. You can't fall flat on your face. We're in an industry where you're frankly judged by your failures, not your successes. You could deliver 1,000,000 times to somebody successfully, and the 1,000,000 and first time something didn't go right, and that's what people are going to remember. So we always like to say we need to operate with the reliability and redundancy of a 747 with 300 people on it, and that's the standard that we're trying to build to every day. So this slide here, just wrapping up here, this shows a pilot program we did this past summer in Lawrence, Indiana, with the U.S. Postal Service. We had some small commercial players involved with us. We're really proud of that. We're looking to roll out in Lawrence this year with a bigger pilot, and then in the next couple of years, we're looking to deploy 4,000 units in Lawrence. So those are all on our roadmap right now, and I think we're right on par for executing those. So that's exciting. We can go through this one here. Let's just keep rolling. You want to go back one? No, go for it. I'm sorry. I was going to get to the revenue here. if you have.
Yes, we're about to wind down here. It's about quarter after the hour. So
Right.
by all means, leave them with a hit.
Just,
Let's leave them to get a sense of what the opportunities are for sure.
yeah, thanks. Yep. So, mentioned earlier, you can only subscribe to a drone deck. You can't buy one. It's a small number, similar to an Amazon Prime model. We see that with 1% market penetration as a $3 billion opportunity. Big data, as we mentioned, is a huge opportunity. Again, with just 1% of the market, that's 390 million in revenue to Drone Deck. Platform access, anytime a shipper or deliverer accesses a drone deck, they pay a small a la carte fee. We see that as a $1 billion opportunity. Every drone deck has a charging station built into it. We know that battery life is the biggest impediment to autonomous delivery of any kind, and we defeat that by creating a limitless range for commercial EVs and drones. So if an Amazon drone landed on your drone deck, Doug, you're paying that electric bill. We're going to debit Amazon for that charge. We're going to credit you and take a small transactional fee. That's an $80 million revenue line item for Drone Deck. And then we get into all the ancillary things we talked about, advertising, traffic counting, streaming live video, and on and on. So with just 1% market penetration, our revenue will be nearly $5 billion, which puts us in really rare air in the Fortune 500. So that's the opportunity that we represent. We're raising capital today at startengine.com/drone deck. We'd love to have you in our investor community. If you're already with us, thank you for that. If you want to invest more, we value and appreciate that as well. Doug, I'll let you take the final note here.
Well, and it's also it makes sense that you would end on a reference to air. As you listen to the podcast, we had lots of flight-related puns, which are really important as part of the communication of Drone Deck and how we compete against, try to fight against the headwinds, and you're just winging it, as we've said now 9 years running. But I want to thank you, Dan, for being a part of this event. I want to thank all of the listeners who followed along live and offered their questions. I have been your host, Doug French. That is the CEO and founder of Drone Deck, Dan O'Toole. Thank you very much for participating in our event. Dan, I wish you all the best of luck with Drone Deck going forward. And I imagine it's a matter of time until I see them flying around my neighborhood. So it's amazing to see what the kind of ideas that where an idea can go when you just come up with a flash of inspiration 9 years ago, and now here you are.
Thanks, man.
For watching, and we'll see you next time with the Kiwi Tech Launch Event Series. All the best.
Thanks, guys.